Martha here, and today I have another Cuban recipe for you. And it has a really funny name, which I will tell you later. But it is done with flank steak and with onions and peppers. And so first you have to boil the flank steak, and you need to use a cup of that stock from the flank steak to use it on the dish, but the rest of it, you make a soup with it. So, yeah, so you put, after you make the stock and you take out the meat and you have to shred it, and then you make you saute green peppers and onions, and you make a sauce with tomato sauce and cooking wine, and you put the meat in there, and it's really delicious. I remember when I was a child and my mom used to cook that for us. It was one of the dishes that I liked. I didn't like all the dishes that she would make, but that one was one of the ones I liked. It's really delicious, and I'm going to be making that for you today. Okay, so in this pressure cooker, I have the flank steak, which it's called the Falda Real, Real. That's the cut for when you want to make this dish. And in there I have put it with some water and some onions and green peppers and black pepper and some bay leaves. And now I'm going to cover it. There's the bay leaf right there, and some salt. And now I'm going to cover it and let it, this piece of meat, there's two of them. That's the flank steak. I am going to let it cook until it's real tender. And that probably should take 15 to 20 minutes in the pressure cooker. And when I'm done with that, then I will open it up, because we're going to use 1 cup of this stock to cook the Ropa Vieja, and we're going to use the rest of it to make a soup. So as soon as the meat is tender, then we'll open this pressure cooker. So the pressure cooker is pressurized right now, and it's cooking the meat at a faster rate. So as opposed to maybe having to leave it there for 1 hour, I only have to leave it probably for 20 minutes before it'll be tender. And I will open this, and we will go on with the next part of the recipe. Ropa Vieja, which if you translate it into English, it's old clothes. What a funny name. But it is delicious. Okay, so I've opened the pressure cooker, and the meat is tender. So I'm going to be taking it out and letting it cool off on a plate. And then I'm going to be shredding it, and I'll show you how I do that. And there it is. I'm going to, here's some peppers and onions, and I'm going to throw back in there, because I am going to make a little bit of soup with that. But I have to reserve 1 cup of that stock for the actual meal of La Ropa Vieja. So when the meat cools off and I start to shred it, then we will continue with this recipe. So here's what you're going to need if you want to make this recipe with the funny name, Ropa Vieja. Okay, so here's the falda, which is the flank steak, which you want it to be Falda Real, Real, for the cut for this dish. And you need lots of onions and green peppers, which I usually cut my onions and peppers in small diced little squares, but for this dish you cut it a little bit in longer strips. I have a cup of the stock. I have some seasoning, can of tomato sauce, some cooking wine, and bay leaf. And this is what we'll need. So I'm going to wait for this meat to cool off, and I'll start shredding it. So just as a little added part of this recipe, I'm going to show you what I'm going to add to this low-carb soup. I'm going to be adding a can of diced tomatoes. I'm going to go right in the stock, which had plenty of onions and green peppers and spices already. I'm going to be adding a can of whole kernel corn. And I'm going to be adding some of this pumpkin, which will keep the soup low carb. So I've added the pumpkin and the corn and the stewed tomatoes, and I'm going to let that pumpkin cook in there until it's tender, and it'll be a delicious soup to go with the Ropa Vieja. Okay, so the meat is cooled off, and now it's time to shred it. And all I do is I get a fork and a knife, and you just start pulling on it this way, and it just very easily, it just shreds into little long pieces of beef from the flank steak that you boiled. And it looks like it's not a lot of meat right now, but once you're finished shredding all of it, you'll see you get a very good amount. Okay, so I'm gonna continue to just shred this meat, and then we will continue with this quick, easy recipe, which doesn't really take a whole lot of ingredients, but I think that you will enjoy very much. Okay, so we've got all the beef shredded, and there's plenty of it, and we're gonna go ahead and put it inside the pan, which I have put a little bit of olive oil in there. In goes the meat. In goes all the onions and the green peppers. And now I'm gonna go ahead and start mixing it all together. The meat and the onions and the green peppers. We're gonna mix it all around. And just keep sauteing it until all the veggies have gotten a little bit tender. Okay, so the peppers and the onions are all softened, and the meat is really good, shredded. I'm going to be adding a can of tomato sauce. A cup of the beef stock from the meat that we boiled. And last but not least, we're gonna add cooking wine. And I just pour a whole bunch in there. Okay, you guys, so there it is. I just turned off the stove. It's done, and it has made a thick sauce, and it smells delicious. As you can see, there's plenty of shredded beef there with a lot of peppers and onions and delicious spices and cooking wine, and I have made some white rice to serve this over the white rice for my family. And on top of it, we have a delicious soup, vegetable soup with pumpkin and corn and stewed tomatoes and onions and green peppers. And that's it. So I hope you will try this recipe. I hope you will enjoy it. I'm sure you're gonna like it. This Cuban dish called Ropa Vieja, a funny name if you translate it, old clothes. But it's got nothing to do with old. It's delicious, and it's tasty, and I really think you're gonna enjoy it. So if you enjoy this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. That really helps me out. Have a great day and stay safe. Bye. See you in the next one.